Hi, Romina. How are you today?
Michelle, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to talk to you.
I
It's my first English podcast,
Is
so
it
I'm a little
really?
nervous. It is.
Oh, you know what? Let me tell you something. It's been a year since we talked, right? Because we started these out as lives, and our mutual friend Gabby Serna put us in touch with one another. In fact, she said, "Do you want to interview a beautiful Mexican?" She called it an influencer at the time, but we know that you're so much more than that. We know you're an entrepreneur. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. Because at the time I was working on this whole Latinx incentive that I was working on. And I wanted to be put in touch with more Hispanic or Latinx women. And you proved everything right to me. You are this strong, determined woman that has so many different avenues that you work on. And your heart, it's like such a great match for us because your heart's just so big.
Thank you so much. You're going to make me cry.
Oh,
Thank you. No, last year I was so lucky to meet you and to talk to you and see that it doesn't matter how different we are. We're working towards the same um I forgot the word,
same
but yeah,
goals, same end
exactly,
game.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly. We want to see more women be their true selves and to be happy and to be successful working women.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think one of the things we learned, just for our audience out there, when Opportunity Knocks kind of came about, we started them out as lives, and we really just were trying to connect to all women around the world. And um, with Romina, the thing that we kind of came to understand is, just like this is her first English speaking podcast, for me to have come on and actually do this all in Spanish would have been very hard for me because I don't have near the vocabulary she does in Spanish. I mean, I could do it like second grade level, but but we can try. We can only try. But what I would say is we learned that there's common connection no matter where you are or what age you
Yes.
are.
Yes, and that's the beauty of just opening yourself to life.
Mm-hmm.
That you start meeting very interesting people that actually make you grow, inspire you, and you can also learn from them. And you're one of those people. And every time I see your Instagram, I'm like, yes, she's right.
Oh,
I don't feel like a failure anymore. Thank you, Michelle.
oh, I love that. Well, I feel that same way too. When I see a lot of what you're doing with your friends or on your podcast, I have to say that for me, it reminds me a younger version of myself. And they say that we are a reflection of one another and we attract what we are. And I very much feel that way with you. So we're in good hands.
We're in good hands.
Yeah. So what I'd love for us to do is, start with a little bit, backing up and hearing your story, because you did go to school in the States, where you were raised in Mexico City. You still live in Mexico City. But like I said, you have so many different avenues from the books you've written. Well, you have one book that you've written that's best-selling, but you have one that's on its way. But in addition, you have your podcast. You're considered an influencer. And you were an actress. I mean, gosh, we could go on with the numerous talents that you have, but I'd love to hear it from you, because the cool thing for me is every time we do these interviews, we know that life is not linear. Like you've done some really amazing things. So let's hear all about it.
I studied acting in New York. I lived there for 5 years. I think it has been one of the best experiences that I ever had. It made me met other people.
Meet other people.
Yeah, exactly. Meet other people. Yeah. It made me realize that I was stronger than I thought, but I was also very insecure, very scared, with a lot of expectations of what I wanted my life to be. And I wanted to be famous, and I wanted to be rich, and I wanted to be this very successful actress. and none of that happened. So I had to go back to Mexico City in 2010 to live with my new roommate, my mother.
Oh,
And
oh,
yeah,
that's
not
fun.
very successful. Yeah, exactly. Not a very successful path. And I came back, I started doing commercials for two and a half years. And then the opportunity to launch a blog with one of my friends back then.
And what was the blog called?
Púrpura. It was called Púrpura, and it was for women that wanted to be successful at their work, but also they were interested in beauty and fashion. But that was in 2013.
Like, which is actually very early in the blog.
Yes.
Yeah. It really was a blog. Yeah.
Exactly. And also in Mexico, there were nothing similar to what we wanted to do. And it started becoming very popular. I wrote a post in a month after it launched that was it was a funny post that talked about this famous nightclub that all my generation went to in Acapulco. It was something really stupid, Michelle. Alebrije. The nightclub was called Alebrije. And it was a very stupid blog post. It was nothing too, it was not,
but it was relatable.
Exactly. And it connected with a bunch of people. And a lot of people were like, thank you so much. Yes, life was easier back then when we were 16 and we were at the club. And that's how it all started. A lot of people read that one, and a lot of
what was the name of the blog post?
Cuando Asa era mi amigo. It was called Cuando Asa era mi amigo. Asa was the name of the guy at the entrance, the bouncer. So it was like when Asa was my friend. And it was like, you know, telling,
because if you knew story. Asa, you were getting into that club.
Exactly. And you were happy.
You had to walk up and go 4, 6.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was such a surprise. I never in my life thought that I would end up working full-time on my website, and years after on new projects. And now it's my full-time, and I have a podcast, and that is kind of new because I decided to change my whole business last year. At the end of last year, I was not happy with what I was doing. So I was like, you know, let's focus on what's working. And my book, as you said, it's pretty successful. And we decided to do the podcast based. My book is Los sensibles no nos quita lo chingonas. That means that being sensitive doesn't make you less of a badass.
Exactly. I love it.
Yes. Yes. And we based my podcast on the book. And that's what I've been doing.
And that's called Sensibles y Chingonas.
Sensibles y Chingonas, exactly.
Got it.
Yes.
So it's perfect because from a branding standpoint, you kept the continuity so people can basically go from the first book that you wrote into this amazing podcast.
Yes.
I love that. So then who do you interview on the podcast?
A lot of different people, actresses, experts on health and relationships, sex doctors. Is that the right word?
Yeah, sex doctor. Sex therapist, sex doctor.
Sex therapist, yeah.
All different kinds.
Yes, a bunch of different people. I love to just listen also to
I see that about
what they have to say. Yes, I do love it.
You're a big processor.
Yes, I am. And also to bring to give my community the tools they need to be successful and happy and their best version.
Absolutely. So would you call yourself a feminist?
Of course, I am completely. I think I was a feminist since I was 9 years old. I remember the first time I saw the Spice Girls, and I was so identified with 5 powerful women that were.
Which one did you like the best?
Posh.
Of
My
course.
email, my first email, this is very, very, I'm not proud of this, but my first email was Romina_posh@yahoo.com.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Of course.
Does
My
it still
sister's,
exist?
no, 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 no. I closed it a long time ago. But my sister's email was also Renata_sporty. She was
Oh
sporty, I
my
was
gosh,
posh.
that's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yes.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I saw the Spice Girls, and I think it was the first time that I understood how amazing, powerful women are, and
Mhm.
how by telling their stories, you can get inspired, and they can actually make you believe that you can do whatever you want and that nothing is impossible. And I remember seeing those 5 women on stage. You know, of course, I never saw them live. I saw them
Yes.
live just once when I
Yes.
was like 20 something, when they
When
got
they were
back
already
together in New
passe,
York.
you were
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
no, Spice Girls,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, 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 yeah. But
You're
when I
like,
was
I'm
young,
still Posh Spice. If
yes,
I could be married to
definitely.
Beckham, I'll be Posh Spice.
I want Victoria's Beckham life. Of course, I do want
Who
that.
doesn't?
Yes, yes. Uh, and it was so, I don't know, it was so powerful. And I love the way they talk about being a woman. But then puberty hits and you're a teenager, and all the stories that we saw in the telenovelas, on the TV, and on the romantic comedies at that
Yes.
time. I'm
Telenovela.
36. I
Yes.
was born in 1985. So
Mhm.
every single story in 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, were about the woman that falls in love with a guy and that she has to fight
To
for their
keep him.
love.
Yes.
Exactly, to keep him. And they have to change everything they are in order for the guy to like her. And
Mhm.
it's such bullshit, but you start believing those
Absolutely.
stories. And I lived like that for a long, 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 long time. And I always say that there's before and after I went to therapy, because I started realizing that I was more than me being in a relationship,
Mhm.
that I could be by myself, that I
Kind
was
of like
actually.
owning yourself, owning your
Exactly,
power and your confidence. How old were you when you
definitely.
started therapy?
26,
Okay.
27,
So after
27.
you got back from New York.
After, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Got it.
And it was not like a horrible time of my life.
No, I mean, I love
I,
therapy.
no, 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 yeah, but a lot of people think that they have to go to therapy when their life is falling apart.
I
And I
agree.
don't think so. If you're not happy with yourself, you can always ask for help. And that, for me, changed everything. And I think just a few years ago, probably 2 years ago, I started realizing that everything, that my whole message was very feminist
Mhm.
and feminist, sorry.
Yeah. It's
Um,
okay. Feminine, feminist,
yeah, yeah.
feministic.
And we're in this time, at least in Mexico, because we're
10
five,
years
10 years
behind.
behind
Exactly.
the States, that we are starting to ask ourselves questions, and we are
I love that.
asking what does it means to be a woman, and
I
what
love that.
does the machismo had taught us. And we've all realized that it doesn't matter how independent, strong, economically powerful we are, we
Mhm.
have a macho inside us, and we
Absolutely.
are unlearning those.
Patterns.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
So it has been a very interesting way, and I love to have a lot of female friends.
Mhm.
I've always been someone who loves women, and I feel very empowered when I'm with a bunch of women by my side.
Me too.
And I think we all should be feminists. I know it sounds a little bit maybe cheesy, or a lot of people think that just being feminist is just a trend, but
Mhm.
it makes good for everyone. It's for
Yeah,
a more loving world.
exactly. Well, and I think that the thing about feminism, it doesn't have to be this like we hate men. It's really about women supporting women and lifting them up. And I think that you're bringing up a really beautiful point. Like, clearly we have a couple generations between us. And I think it's, well, not clearly, because I look your age.
You do? Of course you do. Yeah, you do.
It's because I'm Hispanic.
The Mexican genes, of course.
That's right.
The
It's the
Latino
Mexican.
genes.
Exactly. It's definitely not the German part.
No, it's a Mexican.
Yes,
It's a
absolutely. Absolutely. But, I think the thing is that was one of the biggest reasons for me starting Empower, was that having worked in corporate work environments where women loved one another, but they didn't know how to work together as a team and to support each other to get to where they go. There's enough room for everybody, right? So you probably have people that do something similar to you in Mexico that are successful or just as much as successful as you, if not more sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But you probably look at them as, how can I learn?
Mm-hmm. And that's
the
really
perspective.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Of course, there are going to be women more famous than you are, richer than you are, prettier than you are, taller, skinnier, fatter, whatever. You're not more or less. You're yourself, and
Absolutely.
that's perfect. And the fact that they told us that we have to compete with one another, it's such bullshit.
Exactly.
Because we are great working together. All my team are women, all of them. And I love to listen to what they have to say. I love the fact that they're so creative, and we're also very open to listening. And also when someone is, yeah, exactly. And when someone is having a bad day, we're there supporting them. It's like, how can I help you? I know you have a lot of work to do. Can I help you with something? We are that way. And I love to be that leader at my team, to make them feel comfortable and safe, and that they have an opinion and that I'm going to listen to them. And a lot of things, of course, I take the final decision.
As you should, because you're the lead.
Of course, but a lot of things, definitely. But a lot of things, I ask them, what do you think about this? Do you think we should go this way or that way? And
I feel the same way.
Yeah, and if the rest agree with one option, then I have to go for that one.
I feel the exact same way. Well, because I feel like sometimes, especially when you're an entrepreneur, we don't have all the answers. And a lot of it is that gut intuition and that listening we're talking about, right? And so, I often, because I work with a lot of young girls around me, and I'm like, I want your opinion. I want you to tell me that you don't like it and that I need to do something else. There's a lot that you can share with me and that I could grow from that I don't know, And I think what we're talking about is a little bit like our relationship right now. And I remember this from us talking last year. It's this cross-generational wisdom of sharing. I remember one of the things we talked a lot about last time was more about like the beauty space and stuff, but it was this wisdom of like you sharing with me what you knew and me sharing with you what I knew, but like us growing together.
It's very egotistic to think that you know everything, that you don't need help, that asking for help is for weak people, that you need to know all the answers. I hate that. If you think that you're the most intelligent, smart,
I love your opinions.
It's like, why? I don't want to be that person. I want to be someone who asks other people, like, how do you do it? I don't know all the answers. I don't want to know all the answers. If I knew all the answers, how boring would that be?
Yes.
Like, life is not, like you said, a linear path where you know exactly where to go. In my lowest, like last year, when I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
I don't care.
Can I curse?
I love it. Keep going.
Okay. Because
is it fucking adjective?
I do curse a lot in English, and because it's in English, I don't feel like I'm saying a bad word.
It doesn't sound as good in Spanish.
Yeah, Mexican bad words are the best, aren't they? Do you curse in Spanish?
Sí. Chinga tu madre. No, just kidding.
Exactly. Exactly. We should write a whole list for people who are listening to
We
us
should do a
about
book.
a Mexican curse. Of course. Yes. You want to curse in Spanish, it's the best. What I was saying, the fact that you don't believe that you know everything, that makes you push your limits, read
Mhm.
more, take more classes,
Mhm.
ask for people for help. I'm always asking people that I admire and that I
Yeah.
look up to for help. Like, how do you see this? Do you think this will work or that wouldn't work? Because yeah, I remember last year during the pandemic, I realized that I was not really happy and fulfilled with my project. And since I'm paying for it, I
Yeah.
should be really happy. Like, I work my
Absolutely.
ass off. Like, I don't have any investors. I don't have
Same.
money from someone else to pay for my project. So I was like, why I'm not that happy? And it made me go back a little bit and see the whole picture and
And be
just
reflective.
exactly. And nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
And people are so scared about failing and that things didn't turn out the way you wanted. For me, acting didn't turn out the way I wanted.
Mhm.
I loved acting. I thought that was the only thing I was good at.
Mm.
And
But
afterwards
it
I
serves you
realized
now. Those skills that you learn serve you
exactly.
now. It's all
Exactly.
transferable. Yes.
Totally. And we forget that. We
Mhm.
forget that it doesn't matter that you learn whatever 10 years ago, maybe tomorrow for your next job, you can apply it. And
I
it's
completely
just,
agree.
take every single opportunity in your life to
Mhm.
grow and to be better and to have it there. Maybe you're not going to need it right now, but
Mhm.
maybe in a few years you will. So it's about being open.
Yeah, well, I think again that here we are again in a similar point where we share that same thing. And I think what's beautiful is that you learned at such a young age. And I'd say that I started my journey of learning those things more in my 30s. And so how beautiful that you took that risk to go to New York and to learn. And, if that didn't happen, you'd be on some sort of stage or, making some sort of movie or television show, and we would miss out on all this wisdom that you're sharing with us, right?
Yeah, for me, it was the best thing that could ever happen.
So I have a
Going to New
question.
York. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell
I
me.
have a question about it. So, here you are from Mexico City, and you went to NYU, if I remember.
No, I went to Lee Strasberg for a
Okay.
year and then to the neighborhood playhouse.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then tell me, what was that like? Were you intimidated? Like, it's like you said to me just when you first got on, this is my first English podcast. I mean, look, you speak fluent English. Yes, there's some little minor things here and there, but like, what was that like for the first time when you were in your 20s? Was it intimidating?
I was not fluent
Oh, you
in
weren't at the
English.
time.
No, 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 no. At the time, I wasn't. I couldn't carry a conversation with anyone.
Mm.
I could order things,
Mhm.
can you bring me a cup of coffee? Those,
Yes.
just like I don't know how to say it, but the English you learn at school.
Yeah, basics.
And yeah, the basics. But I couldn't carry a conversation. And then I'm there. We were probably 5 Latino people in the
Mhm.
whole school, and all the scenes were in English. And I was so aware of my accent. That was a huge thing.
Mm.
I don't care that much, but at that time, everyone was like, "Where are you from?" Like,
Yes.
if it was a bad thing,
Well,
like if
that's
having
such
an
an
accent
American
was a
question.
bad thing.
It's an
Uh,
American question to say, where are you from?
yeah, and
Instead
like,
of
where are you from?
like,
It's that accent.
exactly.
Huh.
Instead of meeting, like, it's like you and I talk about we see so much through our eyes,
Mhm.
like the soul of the person, the essence, being present with that person versus, I mean, yes, you can call it a curiosity, but does it matter? If
Yeah.
you connect no matter the accent, where are you from, right?
Yeah, and the fact that, and probably that happens to you all the time when
Oh,
you say
yeah.
that you're half Mexican. It's like, Mexican?
Yes,
How, why? You don't look Mexican. And those
exactly.
whole stereotypes that I'm so happy they're changing, because at
Me
that
too.
time, they were not, even when they cast me in my
Mhm,
school for the
mhm.
play, like my teachers wouldn't, they were like, what scenes are for Romina? Like, what are we going to give her? She's
Mhm.
Mexican, she has an accent, she looks certain way. So it was a struggle, it
Mhm.
was. But for me, it was the best thing that happened to me, because it took me out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
It made me acting
Mhm.
in Mexico and acting in the States, made me um, get to know other people, and
Mhm.
completely weird, interesting, intelligent people. A lot of weird people, a lot in acting. Oh my God, actors are so fucking weird. But I love their weirdness. And I was so weird back then also. And I love to just play with other people. I
Yes.
miss that. I miss the
Mm.
fact that acting is playing. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's a freedom, actually. It's a freedom. It is a talent and a skill to be free in that way, if you can improvise, right? If you have to learn lines, it's a little crazier, right? But like there's a freedom in playing. And they say that people play, that when they play, they remain younger, right?
yes, they do. And I sometimes I miss that. The
Mm,
fact that just do my job and play, and do it for fun.
mhm.
And yeah, and it was such a fun, fulfilling experience. The fact that I had that I lived in New York for 5 years. It's my favorite city in the world.
It's beautiful.
I'm actually going next week to New
Are
York.
you?
And
For Fashion
yes,
Week?
no, 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 just for vacation with my
Yeah.
boyfriend. And
Oh,
it was my home for 5 years. And it made me realize a lot of things, that I was not going through a great time.
mhm.
I like I said before, about all the expectations I had about myself. I was not happy. I had really, really, really shitty relationships with very toxic men.
Mhm.
I was also very toxic myself. Like, I'm not saying they were the only ones to blame. I was very
But
fucked
that
up
goes
back
back to
then.
the we are what we attract, right?
Definitely. Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. And yeah, I was partying a lot. I was not very focused. I didn't have all the tools I have now.
Mhm.
And in a way, I'm so grateful that fame and money and all the things that I wanted didn't come on that
That
age,
time.
because
Mhm.
I would have gone nuts. Like, I wouldn't like be able to handle it.
Mhm.
Like now, I see a lot of people going through really horrible times, even just because they have a lot of followers on social media, a
Mhm.
lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, and it happens to me sometimes.
Yes.
Like, I do, when your work depends on how many likes, comments, and followers you have, it's a little bit stressful.
Yes, you have to
And
stay within yourself. We were talking about that before we got on the call. You really just have to keep saying to yourself, is that what I want? Is that what's important? Asking yourself those hard questions and realigning, right?
mhm, yes, and everything happens for a reason. I know it sounds a little bit cliched, but I truly believe that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm so
I
happy that
completely,
everything happens to me, but at a more mature age, with the wisdom that I have now.
yes, absolutely. So I do have a question for you about that. So it's like, you know, when you talk about that you have the maturity and the skills now, to be this, I mean, truly you are an entrepreneur, you have so many different outlets and modalities. Like, what are those skills? Because, you're clearly, like, what I see about you is you're clear. You're one of those people. Yes, you rely on sometimes guidance and support from people who work with
Mhm.
you and asking for them for those you know those suggestions. However, it's like you're on a path, and
Mhm.
I saw that since last year, like I see it on your Instagram. What is
Mhm.
that path? What are those skills? Like, were you born that way?
I wish. No, no, no. It has been a really long journey. Actually, this year, it's my 10th year that
Mm,
I've been to therapy.
mm,
And I talk a lot about therapy. I'm kind of like the ambassador of therapy
mhm,
because it really changed my life. And it changed because I committed to myself.
mhm,
I realized that I was the only person that really mattered, me.
mhm.
But also in Mexican culture, women, we have to be so hyper generous. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes,
We're, that those women that just live through other people and they give everything to others,
yes.
and it's like
It's more about
overly.
giving in their mind. It's a martyrdom. It's like they give in service. They give in
Exactly.
love. That's the way they show love, is by
Uh-huh. But
giving themselves, but they give everything away.
exactly,
Yeah.
yes, they do give everything away, and they don't set limits
Mhm.
or
Boundaries or anything.
boundaries or anything. They just are there for people, available 24/7 in order for people to ask them for things. And that's the way Mexican women have been portrayed for the
Mhm.
past years and for the whole history. And we have to say yes to everything, and we have to be nice, and we cannot say no, and we cannot just go and ask if we like someone. It's impossible for a woman to go and ask the guy out. Well,
Exactly.
of course everything is changing, but
Yes.
we're not supposed to do that. We're
Yes.
just supposed to
Culturally.
sit
Yes.
still, be pretty,
And
not have an
submissive.
opinion, not have an opinion, and just wait for things to just come to us just like that,
Mhm.
like magically.
Mhm.
and and
Don't you
for
think that
me,
that then help that has like a whole, and I see this with my cousins and different people, aunts and stuff. It carries so much pain because they never took control of their life.
of course, and that's why they drink so much.
Exactly.
And that's why they drink so much, and that's why they're always bitter. But the whole narrative around it, even the songs in the 80s and the 90s, if you listen to pop songs in Mexico sang by women, they always have the same stories about
Mhm.
this woman who suffers so much inside her house, and she's waiting for the husband to come back, but he doesn't come back because he has a lover. Just so much
Mhm.
drama around it.
Mhm.
And when I go to therapy and I start realizing that I can set boundaries to the people that I love, to my
Mhm.
family, to my friends, that I can choose whatever I want, that
Mhm.
I have responsibility about my actions, about everything that I say, and that there are consequences also, and that you have to make also accountable other people for what they do.
Absolutely.
It all changes, and it started me being more loving, caring, um, with myself,
Mhm.
and afterwards with the rest. But I'm at this point in my life that I don't want drama around me. I
Yes.
choose happiness the whole time. Hola.
Oh my gosh.
I choose happiness the whole time, and I think life is a constant decision. What do you want? What do you need? But we're so good at not listening to ourselves. We listen to other people the whole time, but not to us. And for me, that's like the cruelest, biggest crime you can do to yourself.
I totally agree with you. What you're saying honestly is so profound, and it's so in alignment with the way that I think, and it's beautiful that you've come to that place, because you're right. So many women sacrifice themselves and
Mhm.
don't put themselves first. And honestly, what you're describing is, you know yourself, you love yourself. You have so much self-love that you won't give it away anymore.
No, and to nobody, even to
Mhm.
my boyfriend. I love him so much. But when we started dating at the beginning, I told him, there's just one thing I want to ask you. I don't care if you think that you're going to break my heart if you break up with me.
Mhm.
I rather you to be honest with me than to be living in a lie
Absolutely.
in order for you to not hurt me. I will get through it, and I'm pretty strong. And probably there will be a month that I'll be crying every single day, but after that, I'm going to rise
After
again.
that, you'll be
and
like,
my life,
you.
exactly, and my life will be as the way it was, better.
And you
I'm
know
not
why?
scared.
And you said something. You live with happiness every day.
Yes,
Because
and
the joy's in your heart.
yes,
You don't need a
and
man to complete you.
nothing. But I don't base. I don't know how to say it. I don't put my happiness. I don't know how to say this word.
Say it in
Sorry.
Spanish.
Yeah, like no baso mi felicidad.
Mhm. You're not basing your happiness on a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On a man or my
anything.
job or my followers on Instagram or
Exactly.
nothing. Everything can fall apart in just 1 second. The only thing that is going to stick with me, it's myself. So I really want to take care of it every single day, as much as I can. And I'm not saying that every single day of my life, it's a Instagram experience that everything works out, because I don't think that happiness.
Well, that's not real.
No, of course it's not real. And for me, happiness is having the tools to understand how you feel, what do you feel, what do you want, and if you're having a shitty day, that you can do something about it and not being a victim of your circumstances.
Absolutely.
So,
and sometimes, honestly, when you're unhappy, the best thing to do is sit into it and feel it, because that's how you come out the other side and know yourself better and know what you want. Like you're saying, answering those questions, because while we are inherently happy people and we choose to live our life in that from that lens, it doesn't, it's like when I said to you this morning, like when you said, how are you doing? And I think, you're not used to me saying it like that, but I was like, well, I actually like hurt my foot. I'm like kind of pissed about it actually, but it's fine. I'll be fine. I'll be able to like make my way through it, but I can be mad about it, about my stupidity.
Yes. And what you said is completely right. It's feeling whatever comes and not being judgmental about, oh, I'm feeling scared, or I'm feeling envy, I'm feeling jealousy. No, I shouldn't feel those things. Those things are bad. I put them in this horrible box that I shouldn't. We are this whole spectrum of feelings and emotions, and we should all embrace them. And there's nothing bad, I think. And
absolutely,
but people are so scared about suffering. I'm not saying that it's a great place. Of course not. No one wants to go there, but you have to go there. You have to see yourself the way you are.
There's a reason why after 10 years of you being in therapy that you're able to speak so clearly, is because you've gone through the suffering.
Yes.
And it's like you said in the beginning, we were talking about the book idea I had, right? And I was asking you before we got on and we were recording about it. And you said, sometimes it's your experience. And that's what you're talking about. It's like you felt it. I felt it. But we've allowed ourselves to feel it.
Yeah, but it was not that way before therapy. I would be just feeling through acting or through alcohol. Yes.
It's like through your drink.
Yes, of course. And that was my way out in order to express myself. And now I don't do that anymore. I don't need alcohol to feel happy or to cry. I cry very easily to the point that sometimes it's embarrassing, but I rather be this sensitive and connected to myself. And there's nothing wrong with our darkness. Actually, we have to embrace that really hard and really close, because that's the only way to really see ourselves. If not, we're going to be living in a lie. And why? What's the point of living in a lie or living through a character that you create about yourself or about the whole movie you wrote about your life, it doesn't make sense. Sooner or later, reality will hit you right in your face.
Absolutely.
It will
Yeah.
happen.
I feel, and so many people do that. They live out of a fantasy that they created for themselves and don't have the opportunity to really look at themselves and be honest. And I love that you're sharing this because it's so who I am. We're meant to live in Mexico City together, you know.
I'm waiting for you.
I'm coming. Is COVID better there? That's what I want to know. It was pretty bad, wasn't it?
It was pretty bad and everything was open.
Yeah.
Because that's how Mexico works.
That's so Mexico.
No, also it's a really hard situation. If they close everything, people literally starve to death.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the truth. Like a lot of people live because of what they get paid every single day.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. It is so true. And I mean,
they have to come.
Yeah,
you have to come to Mexico.
Exactly. No, I was just talking to friends yesterday about planning a trip there because we really want to go. So I'm going to come. So, okay. So I do have a question for you around your value set. So are you clear on your core values and what drives you every day to make choice?
When you sent me this question, I was not sure. I was not completely sure, but now I thought about it for a little while, and I can say creativity. Creativity, I think it's my greatest value. As I said, I have to start from zero so many times. And I had to start projects from scratch, that I am not scared of starting again. Or even if I had to move from Mexico and live in another country, I know I will be fine. I know I'm able and capable of creating new things and to reinventing myself.
Yeah, I think you're an innovator. You know, like you have a lot of ingenuity. Like you come up with when you say creativity, like what comes to me often is because of your problem solving skills, you basically like you come up with creative solutions, but that end up being brilliant.
Thank you. I don't know if brilliant would be the word.
All right, calm down. Just accept it and say thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I get bored really easily. I can maybe that's not a word. No, I don't get bored very easily. I have a lot of things to do, and I find I amuse myself with really small things. But I like to get excited about new things.
Like a challenge.
Yes, and figuring out. I think the whole creativity process, like the whole creation about either the name and the colors of the brand and how are we going to, I love that. That process, I think it's better, and for me more fulfilling than the result itself.
Well, because it's the startup process, it's the ideation process. Then going back to the creativity, I'm the same way. Is that once we start to have to get into the real nitty gritty of the numbers and all of that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess we do have to look at that too. I mean, that is part of your business plan, obviously, but it's not as fun, right? Because we like to brainstorm and bounce ideas off people and ideate. Like we're visionaries. That's it. So
yeah, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun with my team. They're all very creative. They're very funny. They understand my humor. We laugh a lot. So the whole process it's not stressing. It's fun.
Yes.
And it's like playing again. Like I said, like that I love acting because you play.
So it's funny because I hear not just ingenuity, innovation, ideation, creativity. I also hear fun. And I hear lifelong learner, and you have the biggest heart. You really do.
Thank you. You too. Yes,
do.
I do. I'm a very loving person. And when
Yeah,
I love a lot. I'm very
I know.
intense
That's why I
with my
can't wait to meet
feelings.
you in person so we can
I
hug.
know.
Un
Yes,
abrazo.
please. Por
Yes.
favor, sí. I can't wait.
Exactly. So, okay. I don't want to keep you forever. Of course, I could talk to you forever. I do want you to tell people where they can reach you and leave them with any last thoughts. I mean, here we are. Most of our followers are female entrepreneurs who are either looking to start up or in the process of it and or are started up, but basically are just continuing to move. What would you share with them? What are the words of wisdom that you would say to get started or to continue?
Don't be scared of knowing yourself. To really, really, really knowing yourself to the deepest, last corner of yourself. It's really worth it, because if you don't know yourself, you're always going to be doubting everything you do, and you're going to be scared. And I'm not saying that that won't happen even if you're successful, but at least you will know what to do with those feelings. So it's worth it. And also that you're more than enough, and have fun on the way.
Yeah. And I think that's true entrepreneurship. Like when you're saying that, really, it's like, it is a self-experiment. Let's face it. It's even if you have funding, it's a self-experiment. So anyways, but I appreciate that wisdom. And so where can our followers and listeners find you so that they know how to get your book and soon to be second book on the way about relationships, friends?
They can find me on Instagram, Romina Sacre, also Sensibles y Chingonas on Instagram. My podcast, it's on any
and I'll
platform.
be honest, so why wouldn't you want to go on it?
Exactly, yes. It's on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcasts. And my book in the States, it's only on Kindle or ebook. There's not a physical version. Boo.
Okay.
And it's only in Spanish. I have to translate it.
That's okay. That's what it's on your list of things to do.
I have to. Okay. Yes.
We're gonna get there. It's one more thing. And by the way, this is perfect. We're doing this interview because yesterday started Latin Heritage Month. So we have enough Hispanics and Latinx people in the States that even if it's in Spanish, we'll have enough of an audience for you to go ahead and purchase it in Spanish.
And it's very Mexican. It has a lot of Mexican slang.
I can't wait.
Is there a more Mexican word than chingona? I don't think so.
No, by the way, did you know? So I grew up boating, and that was the name of my dad's boat.
Really?
So, yeah.
Such a great name.
I love it. Amazing name.
Amazing name.
Totally. Was because he used to race like offshore racing boats. So he was like, I'm going to come out as one of the few Mexicans and I'm going to have the most badass name. So
I love it. I love it. Your dad.
Yeah.
Visionary. Yeah, I love it.
All right. I love you so much. I so thank you for your time. And I'm looking for more fun together. I just know that we'll continue to grow with one another.
Oh yeah, I hope so. I can't wait to meet you in person and to hug you. And thank you so much for this amazing chat that we had. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize in advance because of my English. Sometimes it's a little bit rusty.
Are you kidding me? It was perfect.
I don't speak English every day. I forget it.
No, you don't need to worry. It's perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love you.
Bye, besos.
Ciao.